What's wrong with it, MoeJoe?
You broke it.
Broke it. We'll fix it.
Well, guys, looks like here's gonna be another little honeydew project. First off, you gotta turn the water off, so it'll sit there. Run the wheel up. Gotta get that turned off, that's for sure.
We'll fix it later.
Yeah, I know, but it just so happens I have another one of these downstairs. These things, they used to make them out of brass. Well, them days is come, and them days is gone. That's that good old plastic.
It is.
Guys, welcome to our sweet home life. Here I am, and it's about time to do a little work on the old throne. I've got to replace that, they call that a ball cock. I replace that, and I may have to replace that flapper too. But right now I got the ball cock, and I'll bring you guys along with me, and I'll show you what we do to replace one of these things. So, guys, the first thing you want to do here, got a light down there where you can see what I'm doing. You want to turn that water off, and I've already got the water shut off to the toilet. Get you a little pail. I just so happen to have an ice cream pail. Works fine. Gets up in there where you can get it under the drain. Then we want to drain all this water out of the bottom. See that water? Then we get all that drained out of there. And what little bit of water's left, we'll get a sponge and we'll get that thing just as dry as we can get it, because if you don't, that will be all over your floor. So we'll bring you back when we get all that dried and everything drained out. Guys, I want to take this float off where I can get to the water. It's got a little set screw in it on the end, and it makes it easy to untwist. So that thing will come out of your way, so you can work. So that's what you got right there. I don't know if you can see. So anyway. So there you go. You take your sponge, and you can use a sponge best because it absorbs water. You get to that. Alright guys, I got all of the water out, and now I'm going to take the valve out from the bottom, and we'll replace that drain cock, ball cock. And I wanted to tell you guys something really important when you buy these things. If you can see that, this is just about 9.5 inches, 8.5 water line from the bottom of that tank. And that's how they size these things. And the water is 10 inches to the bottom of that, right at 10 inches to the bottom of this housing. But I was told by a gentleman who worked at Ace Hardware that it was up to the top. So this says here, when I bought this thing, adjusts from 10 to 14 inches. And not all of them are adjustable. And I did go by one of the big box stores, and I got the wrong size because I didn't know that. I knew they weren't adjustable, and I knew what I had. But I got home here, and I wasn't sure that it would fit. So anyway, just here is the directions. Tells you all about what to do, and this part is where the adjustment comes in. And you got to put the refill tube in, and there's the float rod and the tank float. And that's basically how you do it. You got to make sure that that seal on the bottom seals. But I would caution before you put it to use to put just a little water in it and make sure it's not going to leak out the bottom and you have a bad seal on that the connection on that ball cock there. But anyway, we'll get down the bottom and continue to take this thing off. And I'll show you guys, but make sure that you get the right size, because you know toilets are all different size. Some of them go way up high, some of them go a little lower than this one. This is a small one. Small, I call it my squatty potty. That's just about what it is. But anyway, it's a Gerber 28790, fairly old unit. But that's how you want to measure those things. But anyway, we'll get down there and we'll take this thing out, guys. Alright, what we're going to do is we're going to take that nut off of that thing and leave the rest of it all connected. Just pull it down. But I got my bowl there, my container, and the water is off, guys. And so we'll be getting this thing off, because I got to have two hands, so I have to do it while the camera's not on. There it is leaking, and that's the pressure leaking out the hose going to it. See, this thing comes right on off. Not too big of an issue. See, that's the reason you want that pan down there. And then we have a nut on the bottom of those right there holding it up. I don't know if you can see that or not. And that little nut right there's got to come off, and get you some water pump pliers, or some common refer to those as channel locks. So there you are, guys. We got it out, and this little nut was on the bottom of it. Was holding it in place. Always remember to put that big washer up against the bottom of the toilet. So that's what it looks like, guys. It's the same thing. And trying to see how this thing adjusts. But anyway, there's your adjustment. I don't know exactly how it adjusts. I forget. But that was a 10.5 inch. Which the water level, like I say, was a 8.5 inch, a 9 inch. And that's the way that works. So, what I'll do is I'll go back down here, dry that surface off fairly well around there where that seal goes. And then we'll take this thing out. All right, there you go. This is a little. What you do is you turn that thing to these flats, then you got that adjustment. Turn it around. That was on 10.5, and then they lock it in place with those things. Bring that nut down, and it locks everything that can't go any up and down, can't be moved. Take all that stuff off. And there's a nut right there that goes on the other section. And it has a little washer that fell out. A little nylon washer, and make sure all that goes back right. But yeah. That thing will fall off. That's caution. That little thing there falls out. Make sure it goes back in there, because you can't really turn this thing upside down and it stay. It ain't gonna stay. So what I'll do is I'll put this in there, and then I'll go underneath it and I'll put this jam nut under it. And then, I don't like the way that works. Just don't like that. I mean, I don't understand this. Screw that little thing in. This is the new rod that they gave me with the package. Screw it all the way in, and that little screw there locks it down where it won't untwist on you. Anyway, we want to get this thing in, guys. Okay, screw this back down a little bit where it won't back off on you. I don't know, this seems to be a little bit low. I think also, I do believe you have to adjust this thing some. This is your level, and when we get all in there properly, we will adjust that level, whatever it takes to flush it. And you want a full flush. You got some final adjustments to make, guys. Like I said earlier, guys, we want to put this in and snug this down real well under here. Just pull this, pull it. All right, I just wanted y'all to see I got it all back together under the bottom. And one thing I really wanted to make sure, and you need to also, make sure that that is not leaking. Want to make sure you fill your valve and all that stuff. Make sure there's no water. So that looks good, and I've got about halfway full of water. So I've got the flapper valve tied back on. I had untied it earlier. And now, for the first time, we're going to see how it stops. You don't want it to stop above that little siphon deal there, because it'll just keep rolling through and it won't ever fill up. You want to adjust that to where it doesn't quite get to the top of it. And still going, okay. There you go, just right. See, I had to adjust this down just a wee bit, or up. Let's see if it goes off, guys. Some of these things don't seal. I want to make sure she shuts off and don't do all that hissing. Because basically, you know, you're wasting water when it doesn't seal. like I'm gonna need to push that down, just right here down just a wee bit. See there? Needs to be just an inch down lower. Hold on, let me get my screwdriver. Big old flathead screwdriver, guys. There it is. So, take this valve. I'm gonna turn it down just a wee bit, which should go down just about. So that flapper's doing what it's supposed to do. So that thing there in the middle, what they refer to as a diffuser, it keeps that thing from emptying completely out when you flush it. Some of them have a two-stage flush. This is not one of those. You don't have solids in there. You don't have to flush it all the way. You just need to clear that bowl. And that's the reason for that. It saves water. All right, you see where it stops now, guys? About an inch down. And usually it needs to be, I'm gonna let it go a little higher. That's where you're adjusting it at on this right here screw. No, I'm not an expert at this, but I do have about 45 years experience working on them. Okay, guys. You see there it finished up about an inch below that tube. But we may have to see what it does before we put the lid on it. But that's not a problem. And I would say, guys, that's another great job that old MoeJoe done. And thank you for watching our sweet home life. And like this, share it with your friends. And maybe some of those new homeowners don't know exactly how to change these toilets. Just these valves, and let them know, guys. Because I'm sure everybody's going to need this sooner or later. Even if it's 25 years. Thanks, guys. Thanks for each one of you subscribers, too. We appreciate you.